stuck in life, you should aspire for more. Connect with others who desire to aspire for more. Reach for your goals. When you do, you allow yourself to aspire for more. Dr. Tammy is here to help you aspire for more. Aspire for more.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I know it's been a minute. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Journey Toward More, a podcast where we discuss topics to help you manifest more. More of what is for you, more of what you desire, more of what is aligned with who you are, more of what honors you on your journey toward more. I am your host, Dr. Tammy Francis, better known as Dr. Tammy, the Catalyst. I am a strategist. I'm an educator, consultant, author, speaker. I am here to help you on your journey toward more while sharing mine. So if you listen to some of these episodes and you get a little window into who I am and what I do. And so I hope you will listen to other episodes as well. I have a holistic approach to learning and development. I am so inspired and on a mission to help you create a strategy to upskill, reskill, and retool and provide access to the resources you need to assist in your transition and growth. I mean, that is probably the number one thing, if I should say, that I am really big on making sure that you are doing those things that are aligned with your purpose, your vision, and you're self-aware in doing that on this journey toward more. So today's topic is very, I would say simple, but not simple. I've been hearing the word humble thrown around a lot lately. And so I thought today is a day when I think we need to really talk about that word. I know that if you're religious or spiritual and you believe in what the Bible says, that there is references in there about being humble. But I think we get a bit confused and we use it not correctly or incorrectly when we are using that word. And when we use it, we don't use it and think that when we use the word humble, there's more to it. It's a deeper meaning. I am all about us making sure that we are excellence in action. And to do that, we've got to talk about that word humble, because some people see excellence in action as a bad thing, but it's not. And yes, you can be humble in that. So that's what I want to talk about today. Confidence, humble, humility, and excellence in action. So I want to talk about those three concepts because one, it may explain who I am and why I do what I do and the way that I do it. But it will also get you to think about how you stand and where you stand and how you navigate the world when we're thinking about being humble and we're thinking about being confident and exuding confidence. What does that really mean? There are so many other terms that can go into talking about these two terms, but I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm going to try to keep this on those two terms and not really branch out. But hey, there may be a part two. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for joining me. If you are interested in moving in the direction of more and preparing for what's next, you're in the right place. And I encourage you to go and listen to some of the previous episodes. If there's a title that you just drawn to, check it out. Give me a thumbs up wherever you're listening to this podcast. And, it'd be nice if you can rate it. If you have some concerns, if you have some questions, definitely reach out to me. You can send me a message, an email. My link tree is in the show notes, in the caption below. Definitely go there. You can connect with me via email or on social media and reach out to me and tell me your thoughts if you have concerns. There are so many things that you'll see on that link tree. So check them out and let's stay connected. So as I was saying, I've been hearing this word humble. It's been coming up. I've seen it in movies. I've been hearing everybody else talking about, and this is a time, end of an academic year, end of an academic semester where people are getting awards. And people are always talking about, so-and-so is a humble person. What does that mean? What does that really mean? What are we really saying about someone when we say that? Do you know? Or are you using it incorrectly? And that's what I want us to talk about. Is being humble a good thing? Is being humble really a good thing? Or is it a bad thing? What does that look like for you? I even think about my social media presence. So, I don't know how people would describe me. I don't know if they would use that word. So I can't say that because usually it's other people who use it and describe other people, or to use it to describe you if they think it fits you. So you have to kind of evaluate that based on what people are saying about you. I don't know if they use it about me, but I do know that sometimes I post a lot. I'm active on social media. I'm active on several platforms. I am present, right? I am there. And I am there as it fits my life. And I'm not opposed to being there. I know some people say, no, they don't like it. And that's just not your thing. Well, it's my thing. And that's the way that I know when we're talking about the future and moving into the future, that's now how things are. I remember back, you would, your awards, you would open the book and you'll have your awards. You'll have them laid out. You'll have your medals, your certificates. It'll all be in this little book, like a little portfolio or whatever, maybe a box. Maybe you had a box of them. And that's how you kept your awards. That's how you, and maybe you put them on your wall. You go in your room, all your awards, your trophies are on your dresser, all your awards are around. If it's your house, then they're displayed maybe in a room in your house, or they're displayed throughout the home. And that was really big at a time. That was the thing at a time. And that's how we displayed awards, and still do to this day. But it's a little different. Times have really changed. Now, when you want people to engage with you, when you want people to connect with you, when you want people to kind of be aware of what's going on, typically we use social media. Yes, you can pick up the phone, but these are people that you probably know intimately. But if you want to reach a larger audience, we typically share it in a more public way these days. And people will call them receipts. People will have different ways of talking about how they share their accomplishments, what they do, and the good things, sometimes the bad, that are happening in their life. And it's just a different time. This is definitely a visual time. Visuals are important. Where we have images, videos, maybe live stream video, where you're actually in real time sharing these things. And those are things where, I remember back it was more written. Like I said, it was in a box. It was in your home. It was, you brought those things out on a display table when there was an event. If you really wanted to show them and make them public, it was in your resume, letters, those things about it were happening. Or people just talked about it. Because they saw it in your home, because they saw it at an event, because they were there when you received it. That's kind of how people learn. But now, that's not the case. But I do know that if you share a lot of that on social media, if you're one to share the things happening like that in your life, you may get people who say, oh, I saw, you're really out there. You'll hear those comments that really have something in the back of them. Right? But if you want traction, you have to make it visible. You got to make it out there. And typically the visual helps. So when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about some of the comments that I get that are disguised as positive and as a compliment and as a congratulations, but really it feels like it come a place of hating, or what we call, we call people haters this day. So from that place. And so the tone is really interesting. And that's when I started thinking about, is it when you share things like that and you're more public about things like that, the things that you're doing and the things that you're accomplishing, do people not see you as humble anymore? What does that look like in 2024? What does that look like today? So, I had to, I got to go to my dictionary. I got to go and figure out what is it that it really means versus how people use it. So I'm going to start with the definition. So humble. Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's importance. I'm going to say that again because you may have missed it. Humble. Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's importance. Like we could talk about modesty. I'm not going to talk about that, but there's some synonyms for humble. Is unassertive, self-depreciating, unassured. And if we think about the verb, the action behind it, because I'm talking about excellence in action, right? It says lower in dignity or importance. Lower. Notice that everything is less. Showing low estimate of one's importance. Lower in dignity or importance. The opposite of humble, the antonym of humble would be proud. Just going to let that sit right there. And I know that people get upset or in their feelings or maybe feel some sort of way. That's probably a better way of saying it, the way we mean it today. Get upset in a way or come off as jealous or hating when someone appears to be, and I say appears because it's all about perception, appears to be not humble. Should we lessen what we do to make someone else feel better or for us to be quote unquote humble? Should we dull our shine to appear humble, to be less important, to lower our importance, to be modest, unassertive, unassured, self-depreciating, self-depreciating. I mean, you're doing it to yourself. To do that to ourselves, is that a good thing? When people use it as if it is a good thing. So we have to really think about, what does that mean, and are you using it correctly? Because I think when people use it, they're meaning it to be good, but what they're describing is not good when we're talking about confidence. So now let's flip. Let's talk about confidence. What confidence is. Confidence is this feeling or showing confidence. So confidence is a feeling. Let that settle in your spirit. Confidence is a feeling or showing confidence in oneself. This one means self-assured. So what I just said, now it sounds like this is the opposite of humble. Like confidence is opposing humility. Listen to the other words, the synonyms for confidence, which are also opposite of the synonyms for humble. Assertive, self-assured. Assertive. When we just heard for humble, it's unassertive. Confidence is feeling self-assurance, arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So one is a feeling. That you appreciate your own ability and your quality. Showing confidence. When you're confident. So I'm looking at these two words and I'm thinking, wait a minute. If you just look at the definition, if you look at what they mean, you look at the synonyms, it seems like there are opposites, like they're opposing each other. When we are striving to be leaders, when we are leaders in our community, we need both. So humility, which is a form of humble, humility is the honest recognition of your own worth. Our worth, as for those of you who are religious, as God sees us. Those of you that believe. So humility is honest recognition of your own worth. The key with humility is there is a delicate balance between being humble or humility and this idea of confidence. You've got to be careful. Many people, when they think of being humble or humility, they think that you don't elevate yourself in a way. You don't acknowledge your accomplishments. You don't acknowledge the things that you've done. Quite the opposite. Humility is recognizing, yes, where you can, and being honest with yourself about areas that you may want to improve. You may want to level up, as we say. But it's also knowing your value. It's also knowing your worth. So in that, we typically only talk about one, but not the other, and how it's a balance. So when we use these terms, we've got to be careful in not expecting others to not know their value, to not know their worth, and be okay with being confident in that. right? So I read somewhere where they were calling it confident humility. And I like that. It's this idea of being humble, not humble in the sense that people think about in just the negative, but also moving into this idea of humility, right? Where there's this balance that you recognize your worth, you recognize your value, but you also understand that you're not perfect, that there's room for improvement, that that's okay. So all this to say is that you need both, right? It's confidence, humility. You need this idea of humility, that when we talk about humble, there's more to it than just the negative, right? So when I think about the definition, I pretty much like the first part of the definition rather than the second, having a showing modest, right? To be more modest rather than the low estimate of one's importance. So I don't want you to underestimate yourself, but I do want you to acknowledge is to move from humble to humility and recognize your value, your worth, but also know that we're not perfect, and that's okay too. And understand that there's always room for improvement. There's always room to level up. So I'm going to encourage you to walk into your greatness. Is continue or start, if you haven't, is really appearing and being excellence in action. Excellence in action means to me that you don't hold back. You don't hold back from the fear that people are not going to consider you humble in the sense that they mean the positive, quote unquote, definition of that, right? I want you to walk in it because you need both. You need humility and confidence. I think I always say, and there's a quote in Reap More, 76 for seeds for the season, and that you can buy on my website or Amazon. It's a book of quotes. And one of the quotes in there talks about this idea of when you don't pursue what you're meant to do, you are blocking someone else or keeping someone else from their breakthrough. That is not the exact quote, but it's that same idea that what you have to give, someone else needs. And so there's no glory in others not knowing. You are a resource, that you can help them, that you are good at what you do, and you get results. There's no honor in keeping that secret when you can share it and help somebody. I think part of this confident humility is that you use it to impact others. You use it to positively influence others. You use it to be a catalyst for change. And that's the piece I think we miss. I think that's one of the other pieces we miss, I guess I should say. So we need that confidence. It's okay if you share what you're doing. It's okay if you let people know of the things you have to offer to help them. We can't help others, more than our inner circle or those that hear it word of mouth. Kind of like I was saying about the way awards and those recognitions are kept in your home and, just for certain people. Like, you can't help others if no one knows how you do what you do and that you do what you do. I want you to think about how can you show excellence in action with confident humility. How can you use what you do and what you know to transform lives? How can you do that in the public. If public is not your thing, that's okay. You know, we all have a different strategy. We have a different way of approaching, which I can help you with, no matter which way it is. But even still, remember, confidence is a feeling. It's this idea of knowing, right? It's this knowing. And I want you to know that you are greatness. Walk into and own your greatness. And that's okay. That's okay. I like, there's this quote circulating around. It's really popular that Deion Sanders talk about. Does my confidence offend you? And that's, and that is not, something that he has to manage. That's an individual thing, because confidence is a feeling, and my feeling confident shouldn't make you feel some sort of way. It should empower you. It should inspire you. And so I think that as you move through this and as you use that word humble, be careful. Maybe switch the language to thinking about more humility. Thinking about using a different perspective as you talk about this, and maybe even explain what you mean when you use it, because we know with the English language there's many definitions. We have denotations, we have connotations, and the connotations are what come into play when we're talking about humble, and how we use it in conversation, and how we use it and the meaning that it has in conversation. And so it's about being clear that when someone is humble, it doesn't necessarily mean, when we're using it in conversation, that they're not confident. Two different things, not opposing things, but two things that most leaders possess. Two qualities leaders possess. And I know those who listen to my podcast are leaders. They're in their community, they're making a difference, and they're making an impact with purpose-driven, creative solutions that can help someone else. So, be excellence in action with confidence and humility. I hope this just sparks something. It's probably the start of a conversation. There's probably more that we need to talk about, like modesty. We probably need to talk about the idea of what traditionally how this is used, and this idea of that fine line that we have to walk of knowing our worth, but yet understanding our areas of growth, the areas where we need to grow, and maybe areas of learning and development. And we may need to talk about that. But today I want you to think about, do you separate confidence and humility? Do you remove them and think of them as two opposite things? Do you know that they go together? Do you know that leaders possess both? And there's a way to do it. It's a balance. And I'm not one to use balance, but I think we have to find harmony in those terms, which that's a whole nother term we'll need to talk about when we're talking about these two terms. But I do want you to think about humility, not humble, and humility plus confidence, and how that translates in how you are excellence in action, how you are doing things in excellence, and sharing that with the world to change the world. Thank you all for listening to me go through this and this process, this thought, which is developing. So I won't say that it is fully developed, and there's not room for me to adjust my thinking around this. So yeah, definitely share your thoughts. But I do want you to think about, when you're using the word humble, when you're using the word confidence, is it positive or negative, or is it neutral? And if we're using the word humble, should we lessen what we do and what we know and how we share that, to be humble. Should we have to dull our shine to be humble? Can we shine our light? What does it mean to shine your light but humble yourself? Can those exist in the same space? Can they be two things that we do every day and at the same time? What does that look like? Or is being humble a good thing? Is it just good? Are there elements we need to adjust our thinking around? So be sure that you check out my link tree. Go there. You can go to drtammyfrancis.com. Connect with me. Follow this. Download. Today, I just thought I wanted to share something that it's still circling in my head, but I do know that these two terms are not opposing. They complement each other, and we need to think about them as such. And how does that resonate with you? And if someone is confident and they have humility, how does that resonate with you? Does that spark some reaction in you? And why is that? Because that may say more about what you need to work on rather than them. Just a thought. That was just a sidebar. That's probably a whole different podcast. It's 2024. It's a new year. And we're in the second quarter. We're into the second quarter of the year. And so it's time for you to walk into and own your greatness. But know what that looks like. Have a strategy and a plan. And I can help you with that. If you go to my link tree, you can book an appointment. I encourage you to reach out to me, and I'll send you the private link for a complimentary 20-minute catalytic session, a vision session, discovery call, where we can at least meet and get to know each other. I'd like to meet you and talk to you and see if what I do could help you on your journey toward more. I appreciate you. If you haven't checked out our merch, go to our store. You can connect with that. You can get to that from Catalyst for Change Global.net or .com, either one. And you can also find it in the link tree. So check out some of those things. We have some upcoming things coming. I will be updating my link tree. So whenever you're listening to this, see what's the latest and greatest. Hop over there, Linktree /Dr. Tammy Francis, and it's in the notes below. Y'all take care. Have a great week, and I'll be back.
Stuck in life, you should aspire for more. Connect with others who desire to aspire for more. Reach for your goals. When you do, you allow yourself to aspire for more. Dr. Tammy is here to help you aspire for more. When you believe in yourself, anything is possible. Believe in yourself, you'll get more. You should aspire for more.